This is PJNET.TV, and this is My Perspective and Comments. In this video segment of My Perspective and Comments, we cover politics, society here and abroad, and the events of the day that are shaping our nation. PJNET.TV, My Perspective and Comment, coming to you with a worldview, one nation under God. Hello and welcome to My Perspective and Comments. And as I have started out here with these video segments of My Perspective and Comments, we'll start out with what's been taking place in our nation and around the world regarding COVID-19 or the Wuhan flu or the China virus. Or that COVID-19, and what's been going on, and we have vaccines that are aggressively being put in people's arms right now, and we have other vaccine companies that are coming on board. We've been hearing a lot about Johnson & Johnson coming on board here, but that still hasn't taken place. But they're talking about, a matter of weeks to get that company in the fold to start inoculating the residents. We're in the middle right now of the Biden administration trying to ramp up more shots, and he's been talking about that he wants to get a lot more dosage and to try and get the majority of people in this country vaccine, or getting the vaccines out, that we could potentially be at herd immunity at sometime in the middle end, probably the end or fall. If all goes well, maybe the end of summer. But again, as you've probably been hearing, folks, they're still going to require masks, and these governors still want to hold on to their ever relinquishing power. They don't want to give that up. So there's still going to be many of the mandates that we've been living through here in this nation, in many of these lockdown states like Michigan, like California, like New York. But we're seeing that that right now in New York especially, we are seeing the numbers come down. But what I'd like to talk about at this point is well, let me back up a step. I'm sorry. They're talking about, if you listen to Dr. Fauci, things might be back to normal maybe the tail end of this year or the beginning of next year. And there have been some rumblings about the masks coming off, but Fauci, I think Fauci, if you press him, he's looking at next year. But there's a lot of states right now, Kim Reynolds there in Iowa, no more masks, no more restrictions for the most part. She's opening up her state, and the masks are gone. So we are seeing some governors, she's one. Governor DeSantis has been rock solid, and he's been standing up against these COVID tyrants that want to put pressure on him to lock down Florida. But all indications and the numbers are showing that those states that were in full-blown lockdown from the get-go in the spring of last year, they went through highs, lows, and those states that were primarily had some restrictions here or there, but for the most part, they didn't have those oppressive restrictions. they're fared the same or better. So now the question is, and the professionals and the big tech censors won't let you ask the question, well, wait a minute, you've got two states, one that locked down aggressively, the other one that let their people be able to have some freedom and to be able to go to open up their schools and have some type of normalcy. Their results and their infections are about the same or lower. So there needs to be, but what we're seeing right now is there's the left wing wants to keep everyone locked down, and they keep talking about science. Look at the science, look at the science. But if you really dig in, like some medical professionals are actually trying to get the truth out, and they're getting big tech says, no, you can't say that. You can't say that. But there is more and more evidence that are showing that that the states that really didn't do the aggressive lockdowns are actually faring better. So we're seeing Florida's really been leading the way, and in not only in COVID, but as I mentioned last week, also in pushing back against big tech and their heavy-handedness in wanting to silence anyone that doesn't toe their line. So he's been really a governor that's been standing out in the forefront, and there's a good chance that we may see him going for higher office here down the road. But we'll be keeping our eyes on Ron DeSantis. He's been doing some great things. Now, in regards to COVID, our emperor and dictator in New York here, Governor Cuomo, is getting the heat. They're putting the heat on him for what he did to the nursing homes in New York. And the truth is coming out. And if you've watched some MyPerspective and comments over this spring and summer, we talked a lot about Cuomo and being the Grim Reaper in New York, because a lot of deaths are seem to be landing under his foot. And right now, there's an FBI investigation. His own party is saying, wait a minute, we need to look into this, because this isn't right. And his spokesman came out last week or a week before and said, yeah, the numbers that we told, we knew what the numbers were, but we didn't give you, or the appropriate number wasn't given. Like 50% of what they forecasted from the health department and Andy Cuomo, double that, and you might get close to what actually took place there. So the FBI is getting involved. In fact, a Democrat lawmaker has really been pushing to get an investigation and actually something with teeth to potentially like they're doing to Newsom, a recall, getting him out of there for what he has done, because it really has been looking like things happened in New York. Criminal issues happened. But his name is, who's been this lawmaker that's been pushing it, is Ron Kim. And he was on the news here and said, well, he got a call from Andy, and Andy said, you better drop this allegation or I'll destroy you. And folks, a lot of people, and I agree, Andy said, no, he's lying. But I'll tell you, Andy Cuomo, knowing what his history and how he deals with people, that sounds just like what has come out of Andy's mouth. As a matter of fact, a prime evidence to back that up is, what has Andy Cuomo been saying to New York residents for the last 8 months. You better put your mask on, and you are going to comply to my edicts. So you put those masks on. That has been his attitude. You're going to comply to what I'm telling you to do. And that's how he has been treating the New York residents. So when I hear something like him threatening this Democrat lawmaker in New York, Ron Kim, that sure rings true. That's exactly what Andy was trying to intimidate this lawmaker. So Joe Biden, and let's switch gears here and talk a little bit about our president here, Joe Biden. Well, America right now is continuing to take an economic slide, an energy slide, and the jobs and this executive order in the job killing executive orders have been very troubling, where we see these keystone workers, high-paying jobs being just written away by executive order from Joe Biden. We're also seeing him, he's coming after the guns, and he's moving aggressively to try and get some legislation to put some more controls and on gun ownership. We're also seeing him looking right now. The latest thing this past week was making illegal aliens legal if he can. So a lot of this has to be passed. I mean, a lot of this he can't just write out. There has to be legislation. But we'll see if any, if we see any real pushback against these executive orders and initiatives that Biden has been putting forth. And talking about executive orders and what Biden has been pushing, have you gassed up recently and taken a look at what the gas pump prices are right now? We're going up, and we're starting to see what took place under the Obama administration. And that administration was famous for saying, well, we're at the new normal. These jobs, they're not coming back. We won't see manufacturing coming back. That was Obama administration's push and claim to fame when he was in office. And Biden is taking us right back to that area where businesses are going to be fleeing the country because they're not going to be taxed to death and have Biden with his hand in their pockets taking every last dime. So they're not going to go that route. Business will not take that hit. They'll just take their money and their business right out of the country. And all the work that President Trump and the leadership to bring businesses back and land them right back into the United States. And now we're starting to see the slide, the Biden slide, taking us backwards, taking us back to, we have or had energy independence under President Trump. And we're not going to have that in a short time under Biden. And I think what we're seeing here and the tragedy and what we've been seeing over this past week with the very cold temperatures in the south there in Texas that's been dealing with that stringent cold that has really dampened, and snow that hit the energy sector so hard with these windmills and and the issues that are surrounding the solar farms. It should be, and hopefully it'll be a wake-up call to say, wait a minute, is America going to rely on reliable energy or unreliable energy? And when you start putting a more emphasis on these alternative energy sources, that they are unreliable energy sources. And that's what seems to be the push from these Green New Dealers like AOC and Biden and Kamala and Sanders. And if they're going to put more emphasis on green new energy, then we are going to see, like we've been seeing in California over the last 2 or 3 years, the rolling blackouts, and that event is coming to a state near you folks if we're not careful. And we have a chance. We need to start. If you're in a state that your governor is a Republican governor and you have Republican legislatures, you have the ability to put some pressure on those legislatures to start drafting some laws for your states to combat Biden. In fact, we're already starting to see more and more states are starting to come up and say, no, Biden signs an executive order, here's the lawsuit, we're suing you to halt it. And that's what I believe is going to really, over these last 2 years until we can get into the next election cycle in 2 years, that we can, take back the House and maybe strengthen our position in the Senate. And I think America, when they see the economic plunge that America is on right now, and that America is going to be going through in the next 2 years, I believe they're going to be hungry to get to oust these far leftists that would handcuff our nation. When you start talking about energy independence, that's just not energy, but that's security for America. Because before, under Obama, we were buying high-cost energy from our enemies. Now, does that make sense? But that's what we were doing. And here we had a President Trump, that got us to total energy independence, and we're backtracking, we're backpedaling. So there are states, Ron DeSantis is one, that has been, he's putting his flag and saying, no, we're not, we're going to resist Biden and locking these states and sliding our nation to be dependent on those nations that would like to slit our throats if they could. I'd like to, at this point, talk a bit about, we lost a heavyweight this week, a conservative heavyweight, Rush Limbaugh, and the battle that he fought with cancer. It was just about a year ago that he came to the EIB microphone and told America and his listeners that what was going on, that he was dealing with a stage 4, and he fought the battle, and this past week he succumbed to the cancer. And when you think about President Trump and these last 4 years about MAGA, making America great, well, Rush Limbaugh for many decades before was talking about the greatness of America and our strengths and the freedom principles that has guided America. And folks, his voice on the radio will sorely be missed. Also, that was announced Thursday, Thursday. Bob Dole, who was a senator and ran for presidency, and they had an announcement for him, Bob Dole, that he has stage 4 cancer. So, the thoughts and prayers for the Dole family at this juncture. If you think about, and I think that, I had mentioned what Biden has been doing and some of those executive orders. I really, when we start talking about the, energy, and let's keep in mind that we've had, we can turn this around. And some of the strategies right now is that if we can just get more states that have conservative Republican lawmakers, that they can write into their state laws initiatives that will put a roadblock to what Biden has been doing in those executive orders that would be attacking the energy grid and weakening the nation when it comes to energy independence. So we need to keep that in mind, and people that you talk with, just let them know that we were energy independent, and we're seeing a president here that is taking us backwards. I'd like to, at this point, I wasn't sure exactly what the format was going to be this evening. So the taking a higher look we won't have that video segment. But what I like to do is, over these last couple of weeks, we've been hearing from here at PJNET.TV and the PJNET family. We've been hearing of physical concerns, and we all, because being in this world and the afflictions and the things that we go through in living our lives, we go through things, and people right now in the PJNET family are dealing with some physical challenges and physical issues. So I'd like to, when we are dealing with something that might be a challenge or a struggle for us, we need to just take a step back and take a look at our healer, our waymaker, the one that can come in and resolve an issue, and he is our healer. So I didn't have a higher look video segment, but there's I would like to bring a song of praise, and this song talks about he is overall, God is in control. And when we think of that, we don't have to struggle with whatever we're going through. If it's physical, if it's mental, if it's something that is oppressing you, if it's something that is weighing you down, it's a burden. God is in control, and we can look to Him. So, as the Word tells us, we want to cast our burdens upon Him. He cares for us. So I'd like us to take a look at this praise song, God is in control.